Just days after Delhi police filed a charge sheet nailing Congress leader Shashi Tharoor's role in the death of his wife Sunanda Pushkar, the SIT today revealed in court that Sunanda wrote 2 emails to her husband saying that she had no desire to live and wanted to die. The SIT further claimed that they are using the emails as Sunanda's dying declaration to draw links to Shashi Tharoor. The SIT also found that Sunanda and Shashi Tharoor had a troubled marriage and Sunanda slipped into depression as she feared her husband had an extramarital affair. और इसी पर ज्यादा बातचीत के लिए we are joined by BJP MP Dr.Subramanian Swamy. Let's go across to him. Good evening to you, Dr. Swamy. Now we know of the big developments and the revelations inside the court, but we also know that you have a lot more to reveal. You believe that there is more than meets the eye as far as the email exchanges between Tharoor and Sunanda Pushkar are concerned.
Yes, certainly. Not between Shashi Tharoor and Sunanda, but what Shashi Tharoor did by getting himself admitted on the day of the autopsy or post-mortem in the All India Medical Institute, and he shot off a series of emails which clearly show that he was trying to get the forensic department of the All India Medical Institute to say it was a natural death. And so there are other things. Now, the other aspect is that Sunanda, after being in a period of depression because Tharoor had taken her abroad, and in Dubai he had a doctor called Gupta, look at her, and then he gave a report that she's suffering from lupus. And then he took her to London and got the same thing. But these two doctors never gave a prescription for Alprax. Alprax was taken by being taken by, consumed by Mr. Shashi Tharoor himself. And he foisted that on her and created a mental attitude that she was dying of lupus. And that's what the depression is. Then on 13th, the thing dramatically changed. When she went to Kerala and went to the Kerala Institute of Medical Sciences, and they gave her a clean bill of health. And it is only after that she decided that she will separate from him, and she moved into a hotel, which was one of the unfortunate steps she took. And then she was to address a press conference. And that is what it happened. All these will be unfolded during the trial. But at the moment, the Delhi police has done a job which is sufficient after the destruction of evidence to get the case moving. And during the proceedings of the court, many more things will come out.
Very interestingly, when the charge sheet came out, Shashi Tharoor's first reaction was that it was preposterous and he will be contesting it very vigorously. But for the past so many years, he never spoke even one word about those email exchanges between him and Sunanda Pushkar, where she very clearly mentioned that she had no desire to live, that she wanted to die, which is proof enough that he knew that she was wanting to commit suicide.
Well, that was his plan, and it was working, but it backfired because of that visit to Kerala, and her whole attitude changed after that. And there is enough witnesses who can prove that. They will be summoned during the trial. But yes, he may have been encouraged to think that his plot had succeeded and that she was inclined to commit suicide, and that would have been easy for him, and everything would have been fine for him afterwards. But unfortunately, this change in her mood led him to think that something more drastic needs to be done.
Well, these email exchanges and her messages on social media are being at the moment treated as material evidence. The SIT has said that this is in fact a dying declaration of Sunanda Pushkar. So the question is, can Shashi Tharoor really escape the fact that this is proof which clearly goes against him? And does this also, increase his legal worry?
Yes, 498A makes it very clear that that presumption is that he is guilty because the period of marriage is less than 7 years. It's actually 3 years and something. So he automatically becomes a suspect or a accused in this matter. and the process starts. You see, when the criminal trial goes on and more evidence starts coming, more charges can be added. In fact, this 306 can be transformed into 302 also later. But the trial is a very important thing, and that is what needs to be started, and that will know on the 5th when cognizance is taken.
Well, there's another angle. There's this entire IPL probe angle also related to this particular case, Dr. Swamy. And we also given to understand that the ED is in fact waiting for the framing of the charges. Once that happens, then the ED will also proceed with its investigation as far as the IPL probe is concerned.
Well, I don't think ED needs to wait till the charges are framed. It can, as soon as the cognizance is taken, that's sufficient for them to start it. So I think some misquote is here. But yes, it was Delhi police who handed over the materials to the preliminary materials to the Enforcement Directorate, asking them to probe the IPL money laundering angle. And then the Delhi police had asked for some further documentation, and that I'm assuming Delhi police has supplied, and which is why the ED has made this statement. Yes, the whole thing revolves around the expose in the press conference that Sunanda was going to make.
Yes, she was talking to her friends, in fact, in the media about this. Now, coming back to the revelation, because, the crux of the SIT finding is that she was under depression and she was continuously being ignored by Shashi Tharoor. And by very carefully choosing my words, the question is, does this actually draw a direct link between Shashi Tharoor and obviously the fact that she was under depression and the fact that it was him who drove her to that point?
Well, those are in the trial, those are come out to show that the preponderance of probability is that it is he who did it, and the fact that most of the time he was in the hotel, he was with her, and what other complicity there was will come out in the trial. But the proving will come after the trial begins. At this stage, we can't lay out the whole thing because a trial is a dynamic process in which one thing leads to another. But I'm sure that with the material I have seen, it will be quite a simple affair in terms of the proceedings of the court.
Also, one thing is very, very evident here in the SIT finding also, Dr. Swamy, is that Sunanda Pushkar in many ways tried to communicate not just to Shashi Tharoor but to her closed ones also that there was trouble in her marriage, that she was, undergoing depression, that there was stress in her life, but not did once. It looks like Shashi Tharoor even made an attempt to talk her out of this suicidal tendency that she was having at that point in time.
No, you will see evidence coming out showing that not only he didn't do that, but he was actually beating her and he was also demanding money from her. Those evidences will also come out during the trial.
Well, the court was also informed today about those injury marks, saying that there was nothing serious. But then, of course, it clearly is related to the fights that the couple were having, not just maybe inside their bedrooms, but also outside in the public. So that particular point was also mentioned in the court about the injury marks on her body.
Yes, yes. That is the autopsy report done by the All India Medical Institute's forensic department, which is a thorough job, which is really what has been the bone that got stuck in Tharoor's throat for his theory of natural death. That Dr. Sudhir Gupta never once changed his view. There were 4 attempts to make him change. They tried to remove him from service, and then the BJP government restored him to his secure position as head of department. And so all kinds of things are there. These all will come out to show that there was an attempt to destroy evidence, and the police in the early stages did collaborate, and that will be also a supplementary part of the trial.
All right, Dr. Swamy, if you could also help us understand, legally speaking, because the next hearing, the date has been fixed for the next hearing, where everything depends upon the cognizance of the charge sheet being taken. What happens if the cognizance is taken, and what happened if it is not, legally speaking?
Well, I'm not going to speculate what I don't believe will happen. It is certain that given the material, cognizance ought to be taken. And if it's not taken, then you come back to me and I'll tell you what is the next step.
Well, absolutely. But then does this revelation and the fact, the crux of the SIT report and their claim in the court that they have enough evidence and proof to say that the way they were also trying to explain the court that how, this is a case of abetment to suicide. Does this mean there is more trouble in store for Shashi Tharoor, despite the fact that he is going to be represented by a battery of lawyers?
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. What is the fifth proceedings is essentially to show that there is a prima facie case before the trial begins, that the trial should begin. And so they don't have to lay out all the evidences they have. And there is now sufficient evidence in those 3,000 pages that have been submitted. And I think the prima facie case has to be that, yes, there was an unnatural death and Shashi Tharoor was cruel to her, and he aided and abetted by this cruelty, taking her own life, which is the present thesis of the Delhi police. I'm sure that after the trial it will end up in murder charge.
All right, Dr. Swamy, stay with us, sir. We have just one reaction. We'll play that out quickly. Then I'll come to you for one quick last reaction.
What stands as of now was that there were mails by her suggesting that she is under depression because she has been mistreated and ill-treated. Delhi police has filed 498A also. Delhi police believes it has enough evidence of cruelty also, and cruelty which drives somebody to suicide is going to be covered under the IPC. And I believe as the trial goes on, you could see even more stringent sections being placed on him. Because please understand, in this case, there were certain officers of Delhi police in the beginning who were helping him. That is why a vigilance inquiry was ordered as to destruction of evidence. Those aspects also might be gone in.
All right, Dr. Swamy is still with us. Let me take one last question from him. Dr. Swamy, now there was a big revelation, a big development inside the courtroom and outside the courtroom. Are those sensational claims made by you? Do you believe it's going to be a very, very tough road ahead for Shashi Tharoor?
Yes. I think now he's on a path from which he will find it very hard to get. It's only going to get worse, not better for him.
All right, Dr. Swamy, thank you for speaking to us. We'll have to wait for what happens in the next hearing, क्योंकि cognizance इस पर अदालत लेगी नहीं लेगी उस पर बहुत कुछ निर्भर करेगा. Many thanks for speaking to us, sir.